least it wasn't as painful as the handguns video. Hello everybody, welcome back, I'm the captain. Anyway, since the tier lists are doing well, I'll keep doing them. But if you wish to see me playing some other games, just say it. But if you wish to see me cover some games that you want to, well, see, leave it in the comments below. But right now, here is a timestamp. You can skip to it and you'll skip my short intro here. But for the one person that probably stayed, here are the rules. In short, there are 5 rules. So, the 5 rules are less more rules than guidelines. And the first thing is, while stats matter in positioning, they can be either completely negated or heavily impacted by the other rules slash whatever you want to call them. The second is, fun matters. When you use these guns, are you using them to have fun? Most likely yes. So, how fun they are to use, aka how much enjoyment you get from using them, if you know what I mean. The third is very simple. Nerf. Basically these guns, while extremely good, they represent some bad things about the game, and in all seriousness, they need to get nerfed. But for the most part, that is that. Now, let's get into it. And the first is the AKS-74U, and I have no idea why they put an S there. I'm putting it in B tier. Now, I do have a notepad out, which I basically just listed everything that I could think of for the guns. And for the AK-74U, it's pretty decent. It's not bad. It's basically an AK, but it's basically a CQC AK. You get more mobility, I think faster fire rate, but for the most part, it's an AK-74. But it has a 9mm conversion, which I don't use because I don't use the AK-74U, but from what I can see, it's pretty damn good. And the 7.62 basically just makes it into a regular AK-747 that is. Besides that, and I have nothing much to say more about the AK-74U. But the AUG A3 Para, I'm going to put in A tier because it's pretty good. Like, it's very strong. Will I think it needs a nerf? No, not really. It's only a good position. It's, relatively speaking, in my opinion at least, quite balanced, unlike many other from here. But, fun fact, the AUG A3 Para has a 3-round burst, and as you know, burst sucks in Phantom Forces. So, if I see you using AUG A3 Para burst only, you good sir are a massive chad. Well, for the most part, full auto, and you know, that kind of stuff. It's good stat-wise, but it has a little lengthy reload, and that's kinda holding it back from S tier. Called SMG 633, and I'm immediately invoking my 1 per video coupon of, well, I can put this gun anywhere I want. And the reason why I'm putting the Colt SMG 633 here is very simple. It's, relatively speaking, balanced, versatile, and quite powerful at the same time. Now let me explain. Out of all the SMGs slash PDWs, I have the most fun with the Colt SMG. The standard without conversions, you have decent damage, high fire rate, but a little bit lower accuracy over longer distances. Now, the conversion that I'm mostly using is the 5.56. You get less damage, less fire rate, but more accuracy over distance. and more damage over distance as well. And then there's the .50 GI conversion. Your magazine is halved, your damage is increased by 30%, and you still have a very high fire rate, but the accuracy atrocious. And I still use it because it's actually very fun. Yeah, Colt SMG 633, I would suggest you try it. It can be literally used any way you want, and it's strong, but in my opinion doesn't need a nerf. But speaking of nerf, this needs a buff. Now what is this? It's the Foul Para Shorty. It does have a fast fire rate, high damage, but stock speaking, its accuracy is beyond close range shit. If you want more accuracy, I would suggest using the .45 ACP conversion. It's more accuracy, lower damage, and lower damage over distance, but again, more accuracy and a high fire rate, because two most important things in Phantom Forces is number one, accuracy, and number two, equally as important, fire rate. Because you can have 10 damage, but if you have 1000 fire rate, oh boy. But for the most part, yeah, I think the Para Shorty Fall needs a little bit of an accuracy buff. Not too much, but just a little bit. Then it would be a pretty solid A. Next on the list is G36C. The reason why I'm putting it in D tier is not why you think I'm putting it in D tier. Here is my reasoning. Is it a pretty decently good gun? Yes, it has conversion, the 300 blackout conversion, to make it a little bit better. You put on attachments, and guess what you get? A regular G36. And this is kind of the problem I have with the G36C. Just another G36. Stat-wise, it's the same fire rate as a G36. It does a little bit more damage, and a little bit more damage over distance, but for the most part, you cannot distinguish it that much from the other G36. So that's kinda why I'm putting in D tier. It's not bad gun, it's fun to use, but it's not distinguishable enough. If the G36C had a 9mm conversion, that basically increased its fire rate, lowered a little bit its damage, and increased a little bit its accuracy. If the G36C had that conversion, it would be A tier. It would be distinguishable from the other G36 at least. Okay, K7. Dear God. Okay, so the K7, when it got released, was the most broken weapon in the game. And it was for a very long time, until I think like a year ago, maybe like 6 months ago, when it got nerfed, actually decreased its accuracy over distance. And if that was the K7 right now, I would put it in S tier. But what I presume is that people complained and then they buffed it again, even though they didn't need to. You could literally burst full auto, so basically you would burst for like 1 second and you would still hit at longer distances. So it required some level of skill then. No more, and now no longer it requires skill. And it's OP again for no apparent reason. In my opinion, it just needs to go back to that period where it had dispersion, but if you were smart about it, it could be very good. Chris Vector, in general, it just needs a nerf. High fire rate, high accuracy, it's mediocre damage, but remember, those other two make it up tenfold for the lack of damage. Actually, I'm lying, the damage is like 30 something. Yeah, this is just, why use any other gun when you can use the Chris Vector when it's OP for no apparent reason? I will give it this. It has the .22 long rifle, which gives it a 10 round mag, pinpoint accuracy, even more brute, But again, lower damage and yeah. The 22 long rifle doesn't really increase vector though. And now, onto something controversial, the L2A3. Now, if we were just talking without ammo conversions, this list would be completely different. But the L2A3 needs a nerf. And the reason is the base is S tier, but for sacrificing a little bit of accuracy at a distance, you basically get double damage with the 0.45 ACP. If the 0.45 ACP gets nerfed in terms of damage to like 42, something like that, 44 maybe, it would go in S tier. But right now, the 45 ACP conversion needs a nerf. The base version doesn't, just that conversion, and that's why it's going into nerf. M3A1, doesn't matter how you spin it, it's, well, high damage, low fire rate, and subsequently high accuracy. But because of the low fire rate, it kinda balances out. In my opinion, it's going into S tier. Mach 10, more controversial, is going into S tier. It's not strong because several reasons. While you can make it be good at range, it's still outperformed by many of these at range. There's also a 9mm conversion which just lowers damage and accuracy, I think, or doesn't change accuracy but increases fire rate, so you can even make it more of a brute machine. But for the most part, it's relatively balanced. MP5. MP5 here. The MP is a little bit out of whack, but the MP5 is top 8 here. Come on, it's an MP5. It's strong, but there are better MP5s. Speaking of MP5s, MP5/10. I would put it high up in S tier because it's extremely good, surprisingly, and heavily underrated. There's a .40 Smith & Wesson conversion if you want more accuracy, but I think it lowers your damage and fire rate a tiny bit, so relatively speaking, it's strong, but it's not near nerf level strong. It's there, but almost it's not. Next on the list is MP5K, and it's on top of A tier. Now the MP5K did get nerfed because, in my opinion, it was a little bit too strong. It was basically just a little bit stronger than MP510 right now, and that's why it got nerfed. I remember back in the day you could make it have literally pinpoint accuracy with any fire way, like downsight or hip fire, all it was max. But it did get nerfed. That's why I'm putting it right now in A tier. It's still fun to use, and there is a 10mm conversion for more damage, but if you want accuracy over range, I don't really suggest it. MP5 SD. Don't look at my version, but I'm putting it at A tier because as good as it is, the S tier is just a tiny bit better. But overall, MP5 SD is just a better MP5, in my opinion. And now we have the MP7. First of all, fun fact, the MP7 has an extended mag, making it go from 30 to 40 rounds. Okay, but why is it in nerf, you may ask? Well, funnily enough, it did get nerfed, and then it got buffed, I think, and then it got nerfed again. And now you might be thinking, oh wait, it got nerfed, and it's still going into nerf? Yes, it's still, in my opinion, too strong. It's on the fine line, but it's just a little bit too strong. And now, MP10, pretty damn good, but I wouldn't put it above all of this because the MP510 is weird. These are all fun to use, all the MP5 and MP5K and the MP5 SD, but MP510 is just a little bit stronger, so I'm going to put it just below MP5 SD. And then we have the grandfather, the MP40. Bottom of S, I'm going to put it right next to M3A1. It has high damage, kinda this little bit higher than average fire rate for an SMG, and very good accuracy. Would I say it's OP? No, not really. The lower fire rate does make it more balanced, in my opinion, but for the most part, it's very fun. I saw somebody pre-buy it and I honestly cannot blame him. Now we have the P90. It's good. Okay, so the P90 is very good, but I'm not sure if it got nerfed. It might have, but for the most part I've used it. It's still very strong, but I think they might have nerfed it a tiny bit. That's why I'm not putting it in S tier. Another reason is that while I love big mags, like 100 round mags, in co-op, like campaigns and co-op, I have no problem, but in multiplayer it just means that I can hold the trigger, and if I dodge just one extra bullet and survive, you have to go to your secondary, which takes time, and I can just keep holding down my left click. Yeah, that's why I'm putting it in A tier. It's just a little bit, how should I say, it's weird. It's a weird feeling, it's weird to use it. I'm not saying it's bad, it's good, but you've seen one of them, you've seen all of them. It's good as S tier, but the S tier is just much more fun. And that's why it's going in A tier. PP19 Bison, C tier. Now, it's not bad, but it does need a little bit of a buff. I'm going to put it in B tier. It's not as bad as Para, special at range. Actually, now that I think about it, yeah, it's hard because you can make arguments for both of these, I could at least. But now, another controversy is the PPSH41. It has the P90 effect of having a big drum mag and basically the LMG effect, which is just, it's a regular gun, but better. Why use the regular version when you can use the LMG version? And this has kind of the effect. It is unique, but the drum mag just makes it a little bit too strong. There are stick versions, but as much as I want to put it in top of A tier, I'm putting it in the bottom of S tier. It is very fun. And now, onto the Rama 1130. I did today, before making this video, pre-buy it and used it. Now, with my luck, I, got into every lobby with a hacker in it, or just a lobby full of tryhards and smurfs, so I couldn't use it to its full potential. But saying that, it still needs a nerf. And here is why. It has a base 80 round mag, which is mental. And it has like what, 1000 fire rate or 950? I don't know on top of my head. Actually, let us check.
2 seconds later.
Okay, I'm consulting the wiki, and yeah, 950 RPM. And it's very accurate. And if I'm not mistaken, it has a conversion that makes it even more accurate, while lowering its fire rate, I think, to 800. But for the most part, you still get a big mag, you get more accuracy, high damage, relatively speaking. It just needs a nerf overall. Make it less accurate and I could see it going to S tier, but right now it needs a nerf. And another controversial, holy shit, so many nerfs this video. the Tommy gun, but it needs a slight nerf. And basically, it's with the fucking L2A3, kinda the same effect. You slap on a 50 round mag, and you just have a better version of the same gun while not suffering anything. In short, while you have the draw mag, make it it's a little bit less accurate, I could say, with going to S tier. Bonus points for having a conversion that makes it a fire rate of 1300 RPM, but shit accuracy. I could see that being very fun, but again, the meta of a weapon is what's killing many of this from being enjoyable. UMP45, I don't have a lot. It has high damage, decently high fire rate, and there is a conversion that makes it have more damage, and I think more penetration. But for the most part, is it fun to use? Well, yes, but these are just very fun to use compared to A tier. I'm not saying that it's bad, it's very good. My friend Iris fucking wrecked an entire enemy team using the UMP45. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's not as fun as the S tier. Uzi. Damn, controversy keeps on going. Nerf. Now, the base is A tier, maybe even S tier. Now, the base version is A tier, maybe even S tier. But as you know, there are conversions, and for some reason, conversions for the Uzi are ridiculously strong. There's a 0.45 ACP conversion that just makes it deal more damage. It has 100 rounds less per minute fire rate, making it have 500 fire RPM, but still, it has 50 more RPM with that conversion and more, I think, the same accuracy as the M3A1 and the same damage, again, while having slightly faster fire rate. And then there's the 22 long rifle with the 50 round mag and extreme accuracy. Basically, you have more bullets, the same fire rate, and more accuracy. Do I need to explain any further? And now to my newest unlocked weapon by standard play version. Okay, the X95 SMG. There are a few funny things. First of all, it has a standard 40 round mag, but there are other weapons that have also bigger standard mags. But I'm going to put it in the bottom of S tier. Now, I'm actually kinda conflicted because while I enjoy it, I kinda want to put it in nerf. Yeah, I know, a lot of nerfs with SMGs, but for some reason SMGs are the most broken category. But yeah, I'm going to put it in nerf. The reason being, it's basically a TAR 21, but better in every aspect. Now, you might be a little bit confused. Didn't you put the regular TAR 21 in B tier in the assault rifles tier list? Yes, but remember, the assault rifles are, for the most part, on relatively equal terms. So it was like, the tiniest bit, this gun is better than this one for a tiny bit. And that's why it's in B tier. I could even say it in A tier, honestly. But remember that. And now apply to the X95 SMG, which is basically a SMG version of a TAR 21, but better in every aspect. And I think that's all of the weapons, all of the PDWs. Now obviously you're on YouTube, so you know that you have to like and subscribe and comment, which would be immensely appreciated. But for the most part, yeah, this is my tier list. Let me know in the comments below how would you make this different. Now, I'll see you in a couple days because I'm now on a roll with making videos. So until then, bye bye.